Welcome. Welcome, everyone, to our shared worship this morning. All of you here in the church, and those of you on Zoom as well, and Facebook, we welcome all of you. Whether you come right now in joy or in sorrow, in hope or in despair, however you come this morning, you are welcome here. So let's begin by lighting our chalice candle as a symbol of our free religious faith. And if you're at home, do please feel free to light a candle with me. With this light as our witness, may we open our hearts to the wonder of worship. Open our minds to the eternal quest for meaning and truth. Open our eyes to the miracle of creation. Open our arms to the embrace of each other. Open our souls and let the divine sweep in. Amen. This morning's theme is creation and spirituality. So I'll say more about that later, but let's enter a time of prayer. And this is a prayer of co-creation written by Lyn Fox. Creative Spirit, source of life and love, we give thanks for the beauty of this day and for the company of those assembled here in different ways. Thank you for the breezes of change, clearing our heads and bringing fresh ideas. May they cleanse our minds of the oppressions and the isms that divide us. Thank you for the flame of hope, the heat of righteous anger, the warmth of compassion, and the fire of commitment. May they bubble the cauldrons of our creativity and transformation. Thank you for oceans of love, rivers of connection, tears of relief, and pools of serenity. May healing waters flow over us and through us and among us, wearing down the sharp rocks of despair to bring joy in the morning. Thank you for the good earth beneath us, around us, and within us. May we take this clay and co-create a new realm of justice and beauty. Thank you for all these and more. We accept our gifts and commit to building, sculpting, painting, singing, and dancing them to life, to abundant life. Blessed be. Amen. Just take a moment, if you would like to bring into your mind's eye, into your heart, anyone you know who may be suffering at this time. And just hold them for a moment in the light and the warmth of love. Let us allow our compassion to ripple out further beyond the walls of this church, into our city, our country, our world. As we wish courage and comfort, light and love to all people and all beings, wherever they may be. Blessed be. And so let us sing. I can say that now to everyone. You may sing if you wish. You may like to sing quietly, or you may like to sing with a mask on, or you just do whatever feels comfortable for you. We're going to sing hymn number 133 in the Purple Hymn Book, which is Play, Trumpet, Cello, Harp and Flute. That's number 133. The words will come up for you, hopefully in the church as well as on Zoom and Facebook. So do sing as you're able. Play trumpet, cello, harp and flute. Lovely, lovely to hear your voices and to see your mouths moving in some cases. Before I share the story with you, I'm going to ask Sheila if you would mind closing the door. Thank you. Our story this morning comes from a Jewish tradition. It's called The Scratched Diamond, and it's based on a tale told in the 1700s by the teacher Jacob Ben Wolfkrantz. And I think it's been told in many different ways, so you might recognize the gist of it. There was once a very wealthy king who owned many beautiful things. He had tapestries, he had gold, he had statues made by the very best sculptors in the land. But of all his belongings, his very favourite possession was the most glorious diamond you can imagine. It wasn't so much the value of it in terms of money, he just loved the look of it. It was huge, it was about as big as his hand, and it was pure and clear and flawless. No marks, no blemishes. And he loved to just go and sit with that diamond and gaze on its beauty, on its perfection. But then one day, when the king went to look at his diamond, he discovered to his horror that it had a long, deep scratch in it. He couldn't believe his eyes. What could have happened to his flawless diamond? So immediately he sent for all the best stone and diamond cutters in the land. And one by one they came to inspect the diamond, and each one looked at it closely and then sadly shook their heads. The scratch was too deep, and if they tried to polish it, they thought the diamond might break into pieces. But finally, one last stone carver came before the king, and he looked at that diamond from every angle. And the king watched him with bated breath as the diamond carver turned the stone over and over, pursing his lips, shaking his head. But then suddenly the diamond carver's face broke into a huge smile. "I know how to fix it, Your Majesty," he said. "Leave it to me. In 2 weeks' time, I'll return the diamond to you, and it will be better than ever. However, you may not visit me during this time to check on my progress. You must just wait until it's finished." The king was very excited, and it took all his willpower to resist getting the diamond carver over to show his work, but he managed. And the diamond carver, day by day and night after night, he worked on that diamond, bit by bit. It was slow, it was tedious work. He knew he had to work carefully or the diamond could crack. But finally, he was finished. Carefully, he wrapped the diamond in a cloth to protect it. And he brought it before the king and said, "Here it is, Your Majesty." With a flourish, opened the cloth, and the king gasped at what he saw. Where there had once been a scratch, a horrible flaw in his precious diamond, there was now an exquisitely beautiful flower carved into the diamond. Unable to polish the scratch out of the diamond, the carver had instead turned the flaw into something beautiful. And the king loved his diamond more than ever. Now, when he went to hold it in his hands and gaze upon it, he was reminded that even something imperfect or ugly or flawed can become something exquisitely beautiful. The story of the scratched diamond. Now, many of you may remember, or maybe still have, a copy of The Artist's Way, a book that was very popular a while ago by Julia Cameron. And I loved that book when I read it and followed it. And I had another little look at it recently, and it's still good. And so I've asked Anne to read Julia Cameron's 10 Basic Principles of Creativity and Spirituality. And Anne's going to come to the lectern. And if you're online, you might want to turn your volume up as far as you can, because it's a little bit faint today from the lectern.
The 10 basic principles of creativity and spirituality. 1. Creativity is the natural order of life. Life is energy, pure creative energy. 2. There is an underlying, indwelling creative force infusing all of life, including ourselves. 3. When we open ourselves to our creativity, we open ourselves to the Creator's creativity within us and our lives. 4. We are ourselves creations, and we, in turn, are meant to continue creativity by being creative ourselves. 5. Creativity is God's gift to us. Using our creativity is our gift back to God. 6. The refusal to be creative is self-will and is counter to our true nature. 7. When we open ourselves to exploring our creativity, we open ourselves to God, good, orderly direction. 8. As we open our creative channel to the Creator, many gentle but powerful changes are to be expected. 9. It is safe to open ourselves up to greater and greater creativity. 10. Our creative dreams and yearnings come from a divine source. As we move towards our dreams, we move towards our divinity.
Thank you, Anne. Okay, let us move to a time of quiet, followed by some reflective music.
الله جل الله ما في قلبي إلا الله حسبي الله يا حبيبي يا الله يا الرحمن يا رحيم الله يا كريم لا إله إلا الله حسبي الله جل الله يا الله الله لا إله إلا الله يا حقاني يا سيدي يا حبيبي يا مرشدي لا إله إلا الله حسبي الله جل
That was Sheikh Ahmad Dede, who is a Sufi, who is still a Sufi, and also a whirling dervish. A rather beautiful voice and also dancer. So creativity and spirituality. Well, Julia Cameron writes that in her experience, both as an artist and a teacher, it's when we move out on faith into the act of creation, as she puts it, that the universe is able to advance. It's a little like opening the gate at the top of a field irrigation system, she says. Once we remove the blocks, the flow moves in. That creativity is an experience, a spiritual experience. And it doesn't really matter which way you think of it, whether it's creativity that leads to spirituality or spirituality that leads to creativity. So I wonder, what is your experience of creativity in your life? Is it writing a letter to an old friend? Is it painting with watercolors? Is it growing vegetables? singing in a choir, putting up shelves, making a YouTube video, designing a banner for Pride. Do you find creativity in your everyday life? Perhaps in the way you dress, I know that some of you do. In the way you experiment with cooking or decorating your home or looking after your car. And how does your creativity express itself in relationships? Perhaps with a partner, perhaps with children, perhaps with friends. Are you able to find new ways to relate and new ways to keep that relationship fresh and healthy and mutually sustaining? And are you able to find ways to be creative with your pain and your brokenness? Is creativity a spiritual experience for you? I think it's obvious when we stop and think about it that the universe is both creation, which is a noun, as well as continuously creating, which is a verb. My grammar's a bit rusty these days. Maybe it always was. But I think a verb ending in ing is called the present continuous. Some of you will know that better than I am, but I think that's a memory I've dredged up from my school days. But it strikes me as being an excellent description of life, the present continuous. Very much the tense in which to live and which to be creative. As we are part of the universe ourselves, we too are, of course, both creations, each of us a unique being in our own right, and also continuously creating. As Deepak Chopra puts it, there are three forces pervading all life: creation, maintenance, and destruction. And when you think about it, all three forces pervade all of life. The lifespan of cells, of stars, of trees, planets and galaxies, and of course, of ourselves. Every form must come into being, be maintained, and pass away. So creativity, being creative, is inseparable from the very fact of our being alive. Being creative is what we do. Even as I speak here now, I'm creating sounds and putting them into a pattern which makes meaning, or at least I hope it does. And when I walk, I move my feet one at a time in rhythm, in the direction in which I wish to go. And when I imagine, pictures form in my mind of what might be. And when I pray, I allow the edges of myself to soften into God and the universe. The whole process of life is creating, maintaining, destroying. We can't help ourselves. And this creative force that we each embody can be playful, but it can also be powerful. It is energy. It needs to be expressed, not suppressed. And our creativity, freely expressed, paves the way for us to live in more deeply to our spirituality. It is how we live in tune with the act of creation itself. It brings us into alignment with a creative God, a creating universe. The poet Mary Oliver said, "The most regretful people on earth are those who felt the call to creative work, who felt their own creative power restive and uprising, but didn't give it the power all the time. And I think that might be true, and I expect some of us do feel regretful about paths not taken, roads not explored. Maybe not in the way they once did, but nevertheless still in ways that are joyful and ways that are fulfilling and which will enrich our spiritual lives. I'm remembering Lisa, who was here last week from the university, and she told me that she's living with a friend at the moment who's 80 or more, who's still twinkly and interested in everything, and who recently ordered a butterfly growing kit, which is basically some caterpillars and some food and a net. And it's really designed for children. But 80-year-olds also. So the two of them now, Lisa and her friend, are entranced with this butterfly growing kit. And they watched the caterpillars turn into chrysalises, and now they're entranced, waiting and watching for the butterflies, the painted ladies, to emerge from the chrysalis into the net. And soon they'll be releasing them into the wild, knowing that they have taken part in, that they have assisted in the birthing of new life. And what a simple and delightful way to be creative and to connect with an endlessly creative God. And creativity also gives us the chance to transform our pain. So in our story earlier, the diamond carver was not able to repair the damaged gem, not in a way that it looked exactly the same as it did before, pure and unblemished. But that didn't matter, because he saw a way to do something better than that. He used the scratch as a basis to create something new, a beautiful engraving of a flower. It took time, and it took patience, and it took willingness and openness to do this. But it was worth it. And the king was amazed at the transformation and realized how he now valued that diamond more than ever, not least because it reminded him every day of the possibility of turning something that seemed imperfect, that felt flawed, into something beautiful. And I wonder when in your life you have been able to do that. And maybe you are in the process of doing that now. And where has it led you, or where might it lead you? In my life, the grief of not being able to have a child propelled me on a spiritual journey I would otherwise very unlikely to have taken, and ultimately led me to be here today, which I like to think is a good thing. You don't have to comment on that. But perhaps life is always about doing that. It's about working creatively with the gifts and the talents that we've been given, as well as the imperfections and the disappointments, the blessings as well as the losses and the hurts, and seeing what we can make of them that is beautiful. Not getting stuck, or at least not getting stuck for too long in regret or bitterness, in blame or revenge, but allowing our own innate creative spirit, the energy at the very essence of ourselves, to open up to the great creative spirit of the universe, letting it work with us in our darkness and transforming it into light. A life can be hard and challenging, painful, heartbreaking at times. We all know that, and we have all experienced the truth of it in our own ways. And yet that spark, that creative flame, symbolized by our chalice, still burns within and still desires our healing and yearns for us to reconnect with the Spirit. Our task, whether in dark times or in joy, it seems to me, is to nurture that light, however feeble it may sometimes seem, to seek it out within ourselves, protect it as best we can from the wind and the rain, so it's burning just strongly enough, just enough, to light the way ahead, shining brightly enough to lead us where it already knows we're going. So may we each cherish the inner light of our own creative spirit. It is always there, looking for opportunities. For the creative and the spiritual are at one with each other, and we, each one of us, is a creative being held by an eternally creative God and universe. Amen. And so let us sing our second hymn, which is 199 in the purple hymn books. And one day I'll remember to start putting the hymn numbers up on our board. It's been so long that I've forgotten we even had it, but I will try and remember to do that in future. It's called We've a God, this hymn, 199. We've a God creator, sets life on the loom, draws out threads of colour from the primordial gloom. So please enjoy and sing as you feel moved to do. Lovely. I think we might be at the closing words. And after the closing words, there will be opportunities for people on Zoom to continue to chat and people here to have tea and coffee in the hall, which has been set up by Crystal, or was going to be served by Crystal, which does remind me, I've still got this, which is looking for a home. This is the clipboard for and rota for setting up who's doing tea and coffee each week. And these dates need to be filled in. And ideally, I would like someone to, gently hassle everyone to sign up to do tea and coffee each week. So I'll put this out, someone who feels like doing that. Thank you. Closing words are from the Rev Barbara Wells. May you find deep peace of creation flowing in your spirit. May your senses awake to the creative spark that lives in you. May you walk in beauty and seek to create beauty wherever you go. May you take the risk of discovering the divine within you and around you. And may the Spirit of life bless you with courage and hope as you live creatively with others by your side. May it be so.